Hey, it's Jasper, and today we're going to be talking about the best computer speakers across all price points. My last video, I went a little overboard and only compared some pretty premium options, like we were talking $300, $400. I recognize we're not all going to be spending that much money on computer speakers. So this video is for basically everyone. We're going to look at speakers that cost like 20, 30 bucks, all the way up to some speakers that cost like $500. So yeah, we're going to compare not just on sound quality. I wouldn't really describe myself as a hardcore audiophile. I do care about nice sounding speakers. I've owned some really fancy speakers in the past, like DVLA Phantoms, and have had vacuum tube amps. But I also recognize that often a lot of this is really kind of subjective. And there's other factors to consider too, like design, like footprint, like price. So that's what this video is going to touch on. We're going to compare a wide spectrum of speakers and help you find the right one for your setup and your needs. So if that's of interest, listen on. So first things first, let's talk about cheap computer speakers. This is a perfectly valid group of speakers. I know a lot of audiophiles are going to say, it's no good, you can't listen to those, they sound horrible. Like, people don't need really fancy speakers always, and sometimes they're just looking to have something that replaces like their speakers that are built into their monitor, or maybe they're built into their laptop and they don't sound great. So audiophiles, I hear you, but some people just need something to solve their problem. So for those people, I would probably recommend the Creative Pebble, and specifically the V2 or the V3. I like the V3 because it has a USB-C input that gives it both power and a digital audio signal. So it's just really clean, and the digital audio signal means there can't be any interference, which is also nice. Also, the V3 has Bluetooth, which kind of opens up some other options for you if you want to explore that. And it's a good little speaker. Like, it's got a 2-inch woofer, so you can't expect too much. It's not going to have amazing bass, but for your everyday casual listening, casual gaming, this does a great job at kind of solving that problem in a cheap way. Its looks are maybe a little polarizing. I think it looks fine. They do make some fancier versions. They make some that have RGB. They make some that have a subwoofer. Those go up into like 60, 70, 80, 90 bucks. Don't do that. Just get the V2 or the V3. This is all you need. Don't get speakers with RGB. Well, whatever. You do you. I got long hair. That's my quirk. If you like RGB speakers, you go for it. But Creative Pebble is what I recommend. The other option I'd consider if you want to have kind of more subdued looks are the Amazon Basic speakers. I don't have them here, but I'll put them up. And you'll see these are about $15. They've got pretty like mild styling. They also have lighting in them. They get pretty good reviews. I think the Creative Pebble is going to sound better, but if you want something a little cheaper and something a little bit just more moderate in styling, that's your other great option to explore. So now let's talk about medium price speakers. I'll say these are speakers around $100 or so. And I've got a few selections depending on what you're specifically looking for. The first one that I'll recommend is the PreSonus Eris 3.5. This has a 3.5-inch woofer, a 1-inch tweeter, and technically they call this a studio monitor. It's not really. I've looked at like the frequency response charts and it's not perfect. You can tune it via EQ on your computer to try to correct some of its quirks, but overall it's still a great value speaker. It's $100 for a pair. You can use it for some casual mixing or music production. And overall, it sounds great. And the nice thing about it as well is it's tunable. So you can adjust its treble, you can adjust its bass to your preferences. It is rear ported, so you can't put it too close to the wall, so keep that in mind. The other nice thing about it, it has TRS cables. So if you have some professional equipment, you can accommodate that. And the other input is RCA, so there's no digital input to these, which is a bit of a bummer. The thing I'll say about these is they have about, I think, like 25,000 reviews on Amazon and a 4.7 rating. So people generally just like really like it. It's a solid option. It's cheap and it gets the job done. Its footprint is a little big. So if you don't have room for it, sorry, but this is a pretty solid option if you're looking for something like this. Another speaker that I think makes sense in this $100 price point area is the Creative GigaWorks T40 Series 2. Yes, that name just rolls right off the tongue. This has been made for a really long time, but if you do any research, it's pretty widely loved online. And it's just a solid option. It's got two 2.5-inch drivers, a 1-inch tweeter. You can adjust the treble and the bass on the front here. It is ported in the ports on the top, which lets you put it close to the wall. And its footprint is nice and small, which is a big win here. So a lot of these speakers are just a lot bigger and they take up a lot of your desk. This one won't really do that. It's pretty bare bones. It only has a 3.5-inch aux input. Not much else going on here, but it sounds good. It's not going to have earth-shattering bass, but it's a pretty solid option if you're looking for something that might have a little bit more of an aesthetic twist to it. But if you don't like this look, you do get this little grill. You can put that on, and it kind of makes it a little bit more subdued as well. The other thing I'll say is this does have a little brother, which is the Creative T60, and I think that's about $60 or so. And it again sounds really good. It just kind of removes one of these drivers. So if you're looking for something maybe a bit cheaper, that's another thing to consider. Another option to consider, if you really want a lot of bass and just kind of a lot of speaker for your money, is the Klipsch ProMedia 2.1. On Amazon, that gets, I think, 4.5 stars, it has 11,000 ratings. I don't have it here, but I've got some friends that have them, and I listen to them. And overall, like, they're not hardcore audiophile speakers, but they're great. They're loud, they're responsive, they have decent clarity, and they have, I think, 260 watts. They've got a massive not massive, but a decently large 6.5-inch sub, which is going to really give you a lot more bass performance than anything I mentioned so far. And the most impressive thing is you get all that for $115 or so. So they're pretty solid speakers. I have had some people tell me about some reliability problems with the sub, but honestly, I've looked into it a little bit, and it seems like just the cable kind of comes undone in the sub. So it's not something I'd be too worried about. It seems pretty easy to repair. So yeah, if you're looking for something that has an external sub and you don't want to spend a lot of money, I think this is the easy option, much better than a lot of the Logitech stuff out there. So give that a look if that's of interest. Moving up slightly in price, my last option in this kind of medium range is the Swans OS-10. I won't go too in-depth with these because I talked about them a lot in my last video, but these cost about $150 and they're excellent. If you do any reading online, you'll see people in kind of the budget audiophile community absolutely love these. They have great clarity, they have pretty impressive bass response given their size, and they definitely just punch far above their weight. They have Bluetooth, they also have an optical audio input as well, so I love those digital inputs. The looks are a little polarizing, I don't love them, but overall it's a really solid speaker for its price. So if you want something a little bit more kind of premium and audiophile grade, this is probably a good option for you. And I've yet to hear anyone who buys this and like doesn't enjoy it. So consider this. All right, now we're moving into the expensive category. So this is above $200 for a speaker. And the first one I'm gonna recommend is probably a little polarizing, but I still think it makes sense for some people. And that is the Kanto YU2. It is first a very pretty speaker. It's just very small. It comes in black and white. I literally like this matte white finish. This speaker is rear ported, and also it does have a sub out. And Kanto makes a really nice little sub that pairs off really well with this. So if you want to kind of have a high-end system that looks really clean and you don't mind spending $500 between this and the sub, this is a great option. It's real kind of, I think, value is just its aesthetic. It's very similar to the Audio Engine A2 Plus, but it's about $50 cheaper. And yeah, it's so good looking. You know, it's classic, and it's also small. So if that's what you're trying to optimize for, consider this. So the next speaker in this expensive category is the iLoud Micro Monitor. So this is an awesome speaker, and I nearly just had this as my main daily driver on my desk. It was my runner-up. I absolutely love it. It is so small, and it is so amazing given its size. It has bass that just doesn't make sense for a speaker that's this small. It's front ported, so you can put it against the wall, and it just sounds excellent. My one critique, which I went into more in my other video, is that the highs are just maybe just a little bit too harsh, which makes sense. It's a studio monitor. So if you're trying to do mixing and you want something that's small, something that's portable, this you could just throw in a bag and you'd be fine. This is 100% your option. I really love this speaker. The only thing that I don't love is it doesn't have a wired digital input. It only has a Bluetooth digital input, which is fine, but sometimes I get some hissing when with the wired inputs. It's still an excellent speaker. Also, it has some nice tuning options, so you can adjust it for your preferences. Really love this speaker. It kind of retails for about $350, but I've seen it go down to, I think, around like $230 on Amazon before. So kind of keep an eye out for sales here. It is just a really solid all-around option. And now we're getting into the ultra premium side of things. So this is ultimately what I decided to go with for my everyday speaker, which is the Kanto ORA. This is a very new speaker. It came out, I think, in September of 2023. And I do love this speaker. I love it, because of its looks. It just looks great. It's only available in black. I wish they made it in white too, but right now it's your only option. But yeah, I love the waveguide. Its woofer is also slightly recessed, so it just makes it really focused. You get really good kind of soundstage with this. Also, it has a nice, this minimalist volume knob. You can change the input as well from here. And its sound is excellent. It is very neutral, and it's a pleasure to listen to. Unlike the iLoud Micro, which get a little bit grating over time with those kind of a little bit of aggressive highs, this is just really mellow, really warm, nice to listen to all day. Absolutely love the speaker, and this is the one that I chose to go with. The bad news is it retails for, I think, $350. I've seen it go down on sale for about $300, and sometimes you can get them used on Amazon for like around $250. So there's some flexibility in price there, but I absolutely love the speaker. It is great looking, and yeah, it has a wired digital input as well, and it also has a sub out, so if you do want to pair it with the sub, you can. I don't think it needs it. I'm not really into really aggressive bass. I live in an apartment in New York City, so it doesn't make sense for me, but this, if you buy this and you can afford it, I'm confident you won't regret it. All right, the next speaker I want to talk about is the Kanto YU4. This is the 2, and this is the U4. It is a chunky boy. You can see it's got a pretty darn large cabinet, but with that large cabinet comes great things, meaning sound. We've got a 4-inch woofer and a 1-inch tweeter. It also supports a sub out if you really want to go above and have some really thumping bass, but I don't really think it needs it. This sounds phenomenal, especially for its size. You can really get those proper low frequencies with a woofer this size. And the other thing I love about this, other than its styling, is also its inputs. This has optical inputs, RCA, 3.5 millimeter. It also supports phonographs. If you're a record player, you can plug that right into it. And it also has Bluetooth as well. So basically anything you can throw at it, this will work with. The price point on this, I think, is around $400 when it's not on sale, and sometimes it goes down to about $300. This is a lot of speaker for $300, and it has great styling as well. So if you can fit this on your desk and you want something a little bit bigger, 100%, this is a great option. And there are 2 other speakers I want to give honorable mentions to under this kind of like ultra category. One is the Vanatoo Transparent Zero. That is beloved in the audiophile community. It is very small. It's meant to sound excellent. If you really want that audiophile grade equipment, that's probably the one to get. The other one that I've also heard great things about, I've never used it personally though, is the Genelec 8010A. These again are studio monitors. A lot of professionals use these for mixing. So if that's what you're trying to do and you want to spend about like $500 or so, great option. All right, we did it. The sun is going down. That's how many speakers I had to get through, but hopefully you found this helpful. I didn't go into as much detail as I'd like to. Honestly, I just didn't want to make a 3-hour-long video, and I don't think you'd all want to see that anyway. But yeah, if you have any questions, comments, or you think I missed something, drop a comment. Very curious to see what you guys are all thinking. Yes, there are affiliate links in the description below. Any support that you guys provide by purchasing stuff, I'll use that money and take it to buy more gadgets. Clearly I need more, and make some more videos for you all. Also, I'm thinking about doing a sound test video for these speakers. So if that's of interest, drop a comment and let me know that you'd like to see that. And if I get enough interest, I'll go ahead and make one of those as well. And with that, very much appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one.